Thank you very much, Ivo. And what Ivo just showed us very important. He was really showing us phaco chop or direct chop and showing a horizontal chop. And it's very important to make that distinction. And where he said he was getting into difficulty, he wasn't. He was just showing it's because there wasn't a groove, there wasn't a tunnel and a trench there, which is why stop and chop is in many ways a better starting technique. So thank you again for having me. Next slide, please. So I'm going to concentrate mainly on stop and chop, which I think for the beginner is really the best technique. So if you look here, we're going to do the groove. Now, most beginners worry about how do I know I am deep enough with my grooving. You look at that, you can't tell. This is where live OCT comes in. You can see with the live OCT on the right-hand side, you can see that the groove has barely touched the nucleus at the top picture. And then you know you need to go deeper. And then I'm going to go deeper again, and you can see that the groove at the top is now twice the height of where it was before. And we're getting near the point where the groove is deep enough for us to crack this nucleus into half. And you can see on the left, when you have a tunnel, a groove like that, you have space to work in. And what Ivo showed earlier with a direct chop is that you don't have the groove, you don't have that trench. Next slide, please. Next slide, you can just go straight to the next slide. Okay, and here is a still image of really a perfect, the previous one, please, the perfect architecture, which is a long, deep groove. And then you can see the architecture on the top, long and deep, and from the side that the tunnel has been complete. Next slide. And then when you've got this architecture, and you crack the nucleus into half, you can see that the crack on the right side extends right down through the nucleus, completely separating. Next slide. So once you've cracked it into half, here I'm going to show vertical and horizontal chop. Impale, and my chopper is going to impale straight down immediately in front of the phaco tip, and then push apart. That's a vertical chop. Let's look at it again. Oh, your video is going too fast. Didn't show very well, but I think you could see. Now here's the horizontal chop at the end. So basically with vertical chop, you're pointing the chopper down at the optic nerve, and with horizontal chop, you're bringing the two instruments together. Next slide, please. So that's vertical and horizontal chop, which are very important. Now, why I actually like vertical chop much more is that if you've got a small pupil or a small CCC, you're not going to hit the anterior capsulorhexis rim. But to do vertical chop properly, you need to have good grip. So remember, point chopper at optic disc and chop right in front of the phaco tip. Some people like to go to the left or the right of the phaco tip. I don't think that's a good idea, because if you go left or right, the nucleus will torque and turn. Next slide. Okay, what about horizontal? Look at this clip. Okay, this is a horizontal chop. That when you do a little space there, as what Dr. Ivo did earlier, once you've got the space, you can impale, and you see the chopper goes out under the rhexis to the periphery and draws the two instruments together, and that's a horizontal chop. So I reserve the horizontal chop for these very much denser nuclei because it cleaves the nucleus better. Next. Now, I've shown you horizontal, I've shown you a vertical chop. I'd like you to have a look at this and tell me which one you think it is, okay? So here, the phaco tip impales the nucleus, and watch where the chopper goes. It goes in between the phaco tip and the equator. That is what I call a hybrid chop. Once you've learned how to do a horizontal and a vertical, you can actually blend the two techniques together and create this sort of oblique chop called the hybrid chop. Next slide. Okay, so just to sum up again, the vertical chop immediately in front of the phaco tip, and that gets symmetrical quadrants if you split that. With a horizontal chop, turn the chopper horizontally and then reach out under the CCC and chop from the equator, pulling it towards the phaco tip. Next. And the hybrid chop is the chop that goes in between the equator and the phaco tip. And you will learn how to do all this as you get more experience. Next. So just to end with, you know, sometimes I'm asked how much phaco tip should be exposed beyond the sleeve. Just remember, if you have too little exposed, you cannot grip. If you have too much phaco tip exposed, your infusion holes in the sleeve are occluded by the tunnel. And in practice, about 1 millimeter showing plus the bevel is right. Next slide, and my last video clip. Okay, here you can see a case where I'm attempting to grip that nucleus. And when I grip it and chop it, you can see that I lose grip. And so here's the chop going. I'm pushing down. And as I push down, you can see that the nucleus has come off the phaco tip. Watch the sleeve, you see it's overriding the bevel. So if your sleeve is right at the tip and overrides the bevel, you will not get good grip and you cannot do a vertical chop. So just remember, show maybe the bevel and about 1 millimeter of phaco tip and you'll be good to go. Next slide. So thank you very much for that. That's stop and chop and the vertical chop.
You have a chop that is like nor neither nor there, like the cataracts, right?
Yeah,
At Newbury. I love that. Takashi, so happy to have you here, my friend.
Hi, thank you very much for the invitation. Well, I think the first concept we're talking about is a little bit different. In Brazil, we say vertical chop as a quick chop and horizontal chop as phaco chop. But I think the wrong concept is more correct. So here, we show the nucleus. The nucleus contains the fiber structure characterized by anterior and posterior Y-shaped structure. So this fiber structure is the basis of the phaco chop technique, in which horizontal ripping force is used. So some fibers structure can also be used to divide the nucleus using the vertical ripping force, which the ripping force is applied from directly above the center using the advanced phacoemulsification system. So the chopper needs to get deeper insertion into the nucleus. Look at the technique itself, right? The most important thing is to remember in the angle between the microtip and the central divider should be approximately 90 degrees or less. So first press the microtip toward the central of the nucleus. The tip of the central divider is pressed to the left from the microtip. At this point, unlike the phaco chop, the instrument may not drawing to the front from the contralateral position. So the next microtip is moved to the right, so the shaft of the handpiece rotates for itself. So you can see on the video, at the same time, the central divider move directly to the left. And usually you can use this technique in a hard nucleus, as you can see here, vertical chop, in soft nucleus as well. So like I said, the concepts, right, and in Latin America probably is a little bit different, because even in the books, on Brazilian books, they say vertical chop as quick chop, right? Now the horizontal chop, let's compare the advantage of vertical chop over the horizontal chop. So you can see here the fiber structure, the basis of the ripping forces used for chopping. And here you can see the horizontal chop, and the vertical chop allows the ultrasound tip have more deeply into the nucleus compared to the horizontal chop. But that means that even hard nuclear with highly viscous bottom can be divided more easily. So the vertical chop, the distance between the date in the ultrasound tip and the chopper is shorter than the horizontal chop, which always is a greater force to be applied to the nucleus, not rotate easily. So a stronger ripping force could be applied safely, makes more simply to divide hard nuclei, better technique for difficult cases, small capsule axis, shallow anterior chamber, small pupil, and without stressing on zonal. Thank you very much.